Morning, colleagues. I now convene the October 23rd, 24th, 2025 meeting of the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. The Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act for teleconference meetings requires that commission members who are attending the meeting via teleconference to disclose of any other individuals 18 years of age or older are present in the room at the remote location and the general nature of the member's relationship with any such individuals. Are there any disclosures from members attending via Zoom? Commissioner Pabry?
No disclosures, thanks.
Commissioner Litt?
Modest disclosure, I'm in a closed room, but my adult son with some disabilities is also in the apartment, and it's possible he may make a brief appearance on occasion.
Thank you, Commissioner Litt. Commissioners who are participating via Zoom must be visible at all times on camera. Please log off Zoom if you need to leave the meeting and log in when you're ready to join the meeting. If you experience broadband or internet connectivity problems while participating in the meeting, that would be remedied by joining without video. You must announce the reason for your non-appearance when you turn off the camera. We will now take roll call. Recording Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Annette Brown. Here. Catherine Williams Brown. Jose Cardenas.
Present.
Gerald Cotton. Juan Cruz.
Here.
Christopher Davis. Michael De La Torre. Deborah Erickson.
Here.
Anna Marie Francois.
Here.
Peter Gwynno Shire.
Present.
Bonnie Clark. Present. Ida Litt.
Present.
Ruben Mancias.
Here.
Monica Martinez. Shereen Pabry.
Present.
Lily Simmons. Richard Simpson.
Here.
Bang Yusof. Here. Christopher Davis.
Present.
Catherine Williams Brown.
Here.
Michael De La Torre.
Here.
Form.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to our Commissioner Francois. Do you have any disclosures?
I have no disclosures.
Commissioner Mancias, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Right.
Lights on you.
Yeah. Again.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
Visible.
liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We begin by introducing our new commissioner, Rick Simpson, as a public representative to the commission. Mr. Simpson retired from the legislative staff in 2016 after more than 38 years of state service. He served as senior advisor on education policy and finance for 9 assembly speakers and also served as deputy chief of staff for the 7 of them. He served for 2 years as chief of staff for the Senate Education Committee, more than 6 years as chief consultant for the Assembly Education Committee. He worked for a short time as a lobbyist for the California Teachers Association. Mr. Simpson has either written or played a key role in developing most of California's major education reforms of the past 4 decades, including the law implementing Proposition 98, the class size reduction program, the laws creating California's system of academic standards and assessment, California's school facilities financing laws, and the law creating a new structure for school accountability. He also drafted the budget reform measures contained in Propositions 1A and 1B for the 2009 special election, education sections of Governor Brown's Proposition 30 in 2012, and has written 7 parts of the California Constitution. I'm just tired reading it. He was the Assembly's lead negotiator on the annual budget for public education for more than 20 years. Mr. Simpson has also served for 12 years as an elected trustee of the Sacramento County Board of Education, was elected president of that board 3 times. From 2013 to 2024, he was a legislative appointee, Commission on Judicial Performance, the constitutional body that investigates allegations of misconduct by state judges and justices, and when appropriate, it's discipline. In 2019, Governor Newsom appointed Rick to the California Law Revision Commission and is currently commission chair. Welcome, Commissioner Simpson. We're very pleased that you're joining our commission. We're sorry for the spotlight, but if you happen to on that side of the room, you're going to get sunlight in the morning.
It's both the beauty. Able to kind of get back into the policy area that I spent most of my career in, education, and hope to learn a lot from you folks.
Thank you and welcome again. Next, I would like to welcome Joseph Morrison, our student liaison to the commission, who is currently a student teacher teaching high school physics at O'Farrell Charter High School while completing his physical science single subject teaching credential at San Diego State University. He is passionate about making STEM education more equitable and inspiring underrepresented students to pursue opportunities in science. His goal is to teach high school physics in San Diego and help students develop confidence in their abilities to succeed in STEM fields. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here and thank you for everyone.
Indeed. Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone, I'm sorry. I'd like to remind everyone about the meeting procedures before we get to today's agenda. This meeting is being conducted at the Commission office and via teleconference. We have commissioners participating from the Commission building and also via Zoom. The public has the option to attend the general session of the meeting at the Commission office or participate remotely, Zoom, webcast, or U.S. toll-free phone number. Meeting room technology includes built-in microphones, speakers, cameras, and monitors. Please note the ceiling microphones are always on and will pick up everything that is said at all times. So please be mindful that anything that is said in this room will be captured on the archived recording of the meeting. Side conversations should be kept to a minimum, if at all. Members that are participating by Zoom or connected to the Zoom meeting, please mute your laptop speakers and microphones and mute yourselves on the Zoom video. Commissioners attending the meeting via Zoom that would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. Because this is a hybrid meeting, we will need to conduct each vote by roll call. We would like to ask members of the public who attend the meeting via Zoom and would like to make public comment to check their Zoom identification. Zoom identification is the name used when logging into the meeting. It's important that the Zoom identification is accurate so we can call on you appropriately during public comment. I want to go back because I just saw somebody join us. Heidi,
Yes, good morning.
do we have any disclosures?
I do not.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we will cover the public comment procedures. The committee chair will announce when the public comment period is open during the presentation of the agenda item and ask for anyone who wishes to comment to notify the meeting moderator. Individuals who attend the meeting at the commission office will need to submit a request to address the commission card to the meeting moderator. The meeting moderator will notify the individual when it is their turn to speak. At that time, the individual will be able to approach the podium and share their comments. Individuals who join the meeting via the Zoom webcast will need to click on the raised hand icon to inform the meeting moderator that they would like to speak on the item. The moderator will notify the individual when it is their turn to speak by calling their Zoom ID. At that time, the individual will be prompted to unmute their microphone and will be able to share their comment. The Zoom ID name used by the members of the public to join the Zoom meeting will be displayed to the public when the individual provides public comment. Individuals who join the meeting through the U.S. toll-free number will need to press *9 on their phone to inform the meeting moderator that they would like to speak on the item. The moderator will notify the individual it is their turn to speak by calling their phone number and will allow them to unmute their telephone. At that time, the individual will be prompted to press *6 and will be able to share their comment. Please note only a partial phone number will be displayed to the public when the individual provides public comment. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per speaker to speak on a particular agenda item. We ask that you keep your remarks brief and focus on the particular item you are speaking to. Finally, please note this meeting is being recorded. After the meeting, the archived audio and video will be available via the Commission's website. Agenda item 1A is the approval of August 2025 minutes. We'll now open for public comment. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
The public comment period for this item is now closed. Do I have a motion, Commissioners, to approve the August 2025 Commission meeting minutes? Thank you, Commissioner Simpson. Is there a second? Second? Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Any discussion? Okay, will the recording secretary call for the vote? Each member please respond with aye, nay, or abstain.
Annette Brown. Aye. Jose Cardenas.
Aye.
Juan Cruz.
Aye.
Christopher Davis.
Aye.
Michael De La Torre.
Aye.
Wakita Gwino Shire.
Aye.
Bonnie Clark. Aye. Ira Lit.
Aye.
Mencius.
Aye.
Mark. David Simmons.
Aye.
Richard Simpson.
Aye.
Huang Yuzoff.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is 1B, approval of the October 2025 agenda. We have an insert for agenda item 1C. As a reminder, I'd like to start the Educator Preparation Committee no later than 10:15. So commissioners, please keep in mind when you are sharing out your reports. We'll now open for public comment. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, do we have any public comments? Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the August 2025 Commission meeting agenda? Commissioner Davis, is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Simpson. Any discussion? Will the recording secretary call for the vote? Each member please respond with aye, nay, or abstain.
Annette Brown. Aye. Jose Cardenas.
Aye.
Cheryl Cotton.
Aye.
Juan Cruz.
Aye.
Christopher Davis.
Aye.
Michael De La Torre.
Aye.
Peter Gwino Shire.
Aye.
Bonnie Clark. Aye. Ira Lit.
Aye.
Mencius.
Aye.
David Simmons. Richard Simpson.
Aye.
Huang Yuzoff. Motion carries.
Agenda item 1C is approval of the October 2025 consent calendar. Now, for public comment, public comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. The public comment period for this item is now closed. Do commissioners have any items they would like to consider in closed session? Yes.
I'd like to recuse myself from item 16, Daniel Castellan Jr.
Commissioner Thornton.
I have several recusals. Those up. Item 17, Julio Cesar Castillo. Item 26, Salvador del Toro. Item 29, Patrick James Finn. Item 37, David Allen Gray. Item 38, Iha. Item 52, Daniela Bernal Luque. Item 55, Stephanie McCravey Cooper. Item 57, Daniel Mendez Eleno. Item 61, Aisha Newkirk. Item 64, Ruben Ochoa. Item 65, Andrea Patton. Item 75, Saul Eduardo Sandoval. Item 88, Larry Stephen Waldinger. Item 89, Dimone Antoine Watson. Item 92, Brian Joe Willis. Item 109, Alicia Magallanes.
Commissioner Gonzalez. Yes, Commissioner Davis.
I do have a recusal. Item 84, Scott McDonald Straker.
Any other commissioners? It's Commissioner Cruz.
Item 25, De La Cruz.
Any other commissioners? Thank you. Do commissioners have any regular session items they would like to discuss? Do I have a motion to approve all remaining items on the consent calendar? Commissioner Platt and second by Commissioner Davis. Will the recording secretary please call for the vote?
Annette Brown. Aye. Jose Cardenas.
Aye.
Carol Cotton.
Aye.
Paul Cruz.
Aye.
Christopher Davis.
Aye.
Michael De La Torre.
Aye.
Akita Gano Shire.
Aye.
Aye. Ira Lit.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
David Simmons. Richard Simpson.
Aye.
Long Yuzoff. Aye. Motion carries.
Good morning again, colleagues. It is ironic, tragic, and cruel. The very year our nation celebrates the 50th anniversary of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, that the current administration has decided to decimate the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, or reduction in force action at OSERS has impacted dozens of staff members who are responsible for overseeing $15 billion in funding for special education services to states to support 7.5 million students with disabilities in our nation. This office was responsible for implementation and monitoring of IDEA, which, as you know, provides for free and appropriate public education for students with disabilities. These actions jeopardize the capacity of the federal government to support, monitor, and strengthen special education services and supports under IDEA. As described in one report, the office was the central nervous system for programs that support disabilities, offering both guidance to families and educators, but also, and perhaps even more importantly, monitoring and providing oversight of states to ensure that they are in compliance with the regulations of IDEA. As has been the case previously with this administration, the national office staff of the American Association of Colleges for Teacher Education has raised strong objections to these budget cuts at the national level, working alongside our state affiliate groups, such as CCTE here in California. AACTE has requested 1, immediate staffing and funding restoration. The integrity and effectiveness of OSEP rely on sufficient staffing to provide technical assistance, monitor state compliance, administer discretionary grants, support research, and ensure accountability under IDEA. And second, protection of core oversight and compliance functions. Even amid broader reorganization efforts, the department must safeguard OSEP's statutory responsibilities so that reductions do not compromise the federal role in ensuring equity and access for students with disabilities. Let me remind you that 50 years ago, prior to IDEA, depending upon the state or school district that you lived in, children with disabilities were routinely denied admission to schools and warehoused in segregated facilities. Educators and family members fought long and hard for equitable treatment and education, which resulted in IDEA. And we must continue to advocate for these most vulnerable students and their families. I've said this before, colleagues, our work moving forward is akin to a marathon, not a sprint. And we must move forward with advocacy, hope, and courage to ensure that each and every learner is provided with an appropriate education. Let me conclude my remarks with some notes of gratitude to 2 of our colleagues whose term on the commission is ending in November. Dr. Martinez was appointed to the commission in 2017 as the public representative. During her term with the commission, she served as the chair of the Fiscal Policy and Planning Committee and the Educator Preparation Committee. As a member of the commission, she was instrumental in ensuring integrity and high quality of California's public school educators. I have worked with Monica in a number of settings, both here on the commission and in my previous roles, and have always appreciated her commitment and passion for our collective work. Please join, even though she's not with us today, please join me in thanking Dr. Martinez for her service. Going back and forth, purpose here, excuse me. Commissioner Klatt was appointed to the commission in 2014 as a teacher representative. During her term with the commission, she served as the chair of the certification committee, the legislative committee, and now as vice chair of the commission, which she was appointed vice chair in 2024. As you know, commissioners, a primary responsibility of the vice chair is to chair closed session. During closed session, commissioners engage in one of our key mandates related to educator licensure. That is investigating educator misconduct and taking appropriate disciplinary action. Ms. Klatt has chaired closed session with care, diligence, and compassion, all directed to both protecting our students and ensuring a fair process for the educators who come before the committees. Bonnie, it has been my honor to serve alongside you. Please join me in thanking Ms. Klatt for her service. Here's for educator, executive director, well, educator, executive director. Oops, Ann.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our October Commission meeting. I too would like to really thank Commissioner Monica Martinez and Commissioner Bonnie Klatt for their service to this commission over the last 8-9 years. Her long serving, two full terms and some change. So thank you tremendously for that guidance, the stability that their participation for 2 full terms has provided to this body as we've gone through significant systems work. And we will miss you and so appreciate the work that both of you have done. I'm thrilled to welcome Commissioner Simpson to this commission. I think I may have first met you in the mid-1980s. So you may not remember that first meeting, but I do. Because you were the Rick Simpson and I, TRS, right? And it has been a long, steady alliance. I have so appreciated your wisdom and your sounding board, the sounding board you provided to some great ideas that we might have been thinking about, some nutty ideas we may have been thinking about. But all along, you've been a very sound analyst, a person who can balance 2 sides of an issue, of an argument, which I think is so critical and increasingly rare in public discourse. So I think it's one of the real strengths of this commission is that we weigh all sides of an issue in order to best inform it. And you're just going to be such a welcome member of this. I think one of my favorite memories of working with you over the years is the annual call that I received from you for a while, asking whether we should continue to fund the California subject matter projects. And my answer was always an emphatic, absolutely yes. Don't ever think about not funding them. One of the most important professional development systems we have and longest standing professional development systems we have for teachers. And I think you always recommended that we do that. So welcome to this commission. That's wonderful. Thrilled also to welcome Joseph Morrison as our new student liaison. Last week, I was at the California Council on Teacher Education. CCTE, too many commissions and councils, yada, yada. Deb Erickson, Commissioner Erickson was there as well, Commissioner Francois, Commissioner Pavri, and Commissioner, what's her name, the chair. Man, it's bad when I have to list names. There we go. But in our meeting with the deans on Wednesday of last week, it was a very deep conversation about what's the state of advocacy today, and where do we put our shoulders to the wheel? Where does this community of those who lead preparation and teacher education put their shoulder to the wheel? Because so much is happening, so much is swirling. And we had some very good presentations and dialogue within the community, but we closed our session with, I think, our first ever panel of former student liaisons. We had 3 of our former student liaisons join us there, and they were outstanding. They were outstanding. We asked them questions about where do you feel you have an opportunity to advocate, for whom do you advocate, and where do you take that advocacy? And they spoke of the students they're serving. 2 of them are serving in continuation high schools, and that is the place they want to be and feel the most committed to what they're doing in a form of advocacy for student rights to learn. We asked them what their teacher preparation programs, how their teacher preparation programs empowered them to be advocates, and they had some insights. We asked them if they had any advice for the teacher preparation community. We had the deans of most of our education programs in the state here at that meeting, and they had some good insights to share. And we asked them at the end, the final question that we posed to them was, what's your trajectory as a teacher? And what will keep you in or drive you out of the profession? And what I saw and heard from these 3 individuals you're a unique and small cohort. I think we've had 10 or 11 student liaisons, maybe 12, since we started this process. So a growing cohort of folks who are right in the middle of it, to bring your perspectives to us. And so we can see through your eyes, and we value that. And these 3 teachers gave me just renewed hope about the state of the teaching profession. If these are the people we are preparing and licensing to go in the school, then our schools are benefiting. Not a one of the 3 we spoke to have any evident discouragement. They are all serving with stellar leadership, which they said is key to their success, and that a change in stellar leadership might shift them to a new site. But in particular, our continuation high school teachers said, I would just move to another continuation high school. I'm not leaving the profession. Their commitment was profound and deep and long. So welcome to the cohort, and we are so eager to see what you see and hear what you hear as you go through this preparation thing. So commissioners, I just wanted to close with some reflection on what this agenda holds for you today. It is, there's a lot of more systems work that is being teed up here for you again and still. And this year has been punctuated at almost every meeting with systems work that we are proposing for you for us to take up in the 5, 10, 20 year. Let's look at this system and see what it weighs, see how it meets the moment that we're in, see what we need to do to adjust it and to bring it into conformity with the needs of our schools, the needs of our students, the needs of our teachers. So we began the year with child development permit and our continuing work in early childhood education. We're continuing that work at this meeting as well, looking at performance expectations in that space. Of course, we had Senate Bill 1263 last year, which put a significant challenge before us around the performance assessment system. And with collaboration with our many education partners, that became a directive for us to look at that system, look at how performance assessments are designed and implemented, and to bring improvements forward. And that work group brought those to you in June, and you adopted a work plan in August. And those systems, the systems that 1263 will impact, are pervasive. They will impact the performance assessment system itself. How are they designed? How are they embedded? How are they part of the normal warp and woof of becoming a teacher, rather than another external test, another hoop to jump through or a barrier to get over? How does the accreditation system look at that and all of the evidence within preparation to determine that preparation is on track where it needs to be? How are we doing our work there? Those are big systems that we operate here. At this meeting and also teed up at the last meeting, we've been talking about the whole of the examinations system and the number of standardized examinations that we have, the years that they have been in in existence and the need for them to be updated and looked at. We've been seeing from the legislature increasing effort to shrink the kind of overwhelming size and impact of testing into a right-sized place where tests become a way, an option for candidates to demonstrate their basic skills, their subject matter knowledge, et cetera, rather than the primary way, and a significant way in which teachers that could be very good in the classroom are not allowed in because they couldn't get over that barrier. It is so timely that we are taking the system and looking at how can we best organize it so that it is an option and not the penultimate barrier that it can be. Looking at the subject matter requirements for CSET is another key thing that those have been developed over many years, and they are each set of SMRs are unique to the credential that they drive subject matter for. And recent legislation has asked us to use those SMRs to allow for alternative ways for candidates to meet subject matter. And that really requires us to dig back into them and look at them for that purpose. So these are major systems that are on your agenda today. Legislation this year is also bringing additional systems work to us. The opportunity to go back into the administrative services credential and look at multiple types of administrative service credential. The site-based credential that we currently have privileges, if you're going to hold an administrative services credential and it authorizes you to run a school, that's where we've placed all of our focus, is that there are many things that require an administrative services credential to do at the district level, but the most vulnerable place is the school. And managing school sites has been, since we only had one for many years, only one size to fit all, that's what we've privileged. Well, now we've got legislation that we'll be talking about in our Ledge wrap-up and in an agenda item today that asks us to create more than one path to an administrative services credential and recognition that there are different roles that need, and we need to privilege the core knowledge, content, and skill that those administrators in the future might need. Another big system for us. We annually produce a teacher supply report, as you know, and that teacher supply report continues to track where we have vacancies, and the state itself is deeply concerned. Our employer community is deeply concerned about the ability to staff classrooms, and we are seeing turnover that I don't know whether it's unprecedented. I haven't done that research yet, but turnover and pre-retirement attrition is a significant contributor to the shortages we're facing. And administrative services credentials, administrators can play a significant role, as we heard from our three former student liaisons say to us. They didn't talk at all about their salaries. They talked about their working conditions, what enables them to do the work they're so committed to do. Looking at our admin services credential gives us an opportunity to really privilege some key things that may not be at the forefront yet. We see also there's another opportunity to dig back into special education. There's a bill, and Jonathan will talk to you about that at the end of the day. A bill that asks the commission to go back in and look at ways to facilitate dual credentialing, which could have also a significant impact on teacher shortages, particularly in special education. If there are ways to maintain the standards necessary for our students and create efficiencies to get the workforce through, what an opportunity we have to really dig in and work on that. So we are in the midst of some significant updates and resets, and it's exciting to present this agenda to you today and to engage with our stakeholders who are here, who have been key partners along the way, both in surfacing issues that need our attention quickly and desperately, and in helping us to road test and ideas that may be solution pathways to address this. So that's my report for the day, Chair.
Thank you, Executive Director Sandy, and thank you in advance for your leadership and your team as we do this systems work in the next few years. Thank you. Do any commissioners have items to report? Yes, Commissioner Erickson and then Commissioner Brown.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with all of you this morning. AICCU has voiced
strong opposition to the recent termination of the Grad Plus program for new borrowers as of July 1st, 2026, arguing that it will negatively impact student access to higher education and California's workforce. Students attending independent institutions rely heavily on federal loans, and the discontinuation will force many to turn to less flexible and more expensive private loans. AICCU's latest data reveals stark consequences if Grad Plus is discontinued for new borrowers. 68% of California's $2 billion in Grad Plus borrowing comes from students enrolled at independent California colleges and universities. And of that, 14% of it is educators. A large chunk of that goes to healthcare providers. The termination also poses a significant risk to first generation and historically underrepresented students who rely on this loan program for graduate level education. I'd also like to thank Executive Director Sandy for her willingness to be with us and work with us at the statewide meeting of education deans for the UC, CSU, and independent sectors. Director of Professional Services, Erin Sullivan, and Director of Division of Research, Evaluation, and Assessment, Juliet Wallleitner, led policy sessions with members at the California Council on Teacher Education's most recent conference. While the conference theme centered on professionalism, expertise, innovation, much of the larger discussion centered on advocacy and our role and responsibility as professionals. In the current climate, as the Department of Education faces dismantling and federal oversight of public education is being drastically reduced, advocacy for public education has never been more urgent. Public schools are the cornerstone of a healthy democracy, ensuring that every child, regardless of background, income, or zip code, has access to quality learning opportunities. Without a strong national commitment to equitable education, the gap between privileged and underserved communities will only widen, threatening social mobility, civic participation, and the nation's future workforce. Advocating for public education now means standing up for the principle that education is a public good, not a private commodity, and that our collective well-being depends on protecting and strengthening the systems that serve all children, not just a select few. Thank you.
Commissioner Erickson. Commissioner Brown, and I see commissioners online next.
Well, as is often the case, I sort of have the early childhood voice here that is so exciting to be here and to be on the commission and to be with us these last few years. And we have Executive Director Sandy to help to thank for that, to keep it up, keep it going. Yes, it's very serious times. And thank you for describing how they are. The two items that I just wanted to mention were actually two items that I think are positive on what we need to do. Well, one of them was September 17th, the Learning Policy Institute had its 10th year anniversary and celebration of its initial director, Linda Darling Hammond, and Julia and Renee Marshall and I went to that event, and there's a lot of support there. Also very research oriented, which is really helpful to get data, current data, to see what's going on and how we can move forward. The second thing I wanted to mention was the California Association for the Education of Young Children Transitional Kindergarten Institute. That was this October 10th and 11th in Santa Clara. And I'm happy to report that the staff here is so strong and so helpful. And we put together a presentation that was updating for the field what was going on at the commission here. And it was well attended. A lot of people who are currently in the PK to 3 world were there, as well as the child development permit. And so we put together something that was really helpful. It was, it really brought in their questions of what they wanted to know that we were doing. And interestingly enough, and helpful to know, is it's really important for us to continue to work with all of our members around what we should be doing and what we do, what we're supposed to do, and then who else should do it if not us. One of the things in terms of our presentation was how to get involved and how to be informed. And my favorite, and I'm sorry you can't all see it, but it was a great slide with a great photo that said, rumors and reality, let's clear the air. And we had the groups at tables brainstorm what they thought was going on and then work together to figure out what was going on. And then we had a really great interactive, what's your question? Or was that real or not? Or if it's not real, where else could we find it? It was great. So I just wanted to tell you, I think the commission is doing a really good job, and I think you'll see it in this item today about really reaching out to the field to be informed as we make the decisions we need to make.
Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Pavre?
I think Commissioner Francois may be before me. Please go ahead, Anna Marie.
Please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Commissioner Pavre. I don't know if that's true, but I will take advantage of the opportunity to go first. First, I want to say I want to welcome our new commissioners. I look forward to seeing you and meeting you in person at our next commission meeting. I also want to echo the thanks to Commissioner Klatt and Commissioner Martinez. I don't know why I didn't know that they were cycling out. I mean, whatever the term is, but it made me think about how much I've learned from both of you, how much I've appreciated your curiosity, your openness to different perspectives of your own, the unique perspective that you bring to the table. But in particular, both of you have a very gentle way of challenging my thinking about things that I've held very dear and close to my heart. And in doing that, I think that I have become not only a better and more thoughtful commissioner, but more thoughtful in my everyday life, in my professional life. So I just really want to thank everything that you have brought to the commission since I've been on it. I want to say good morning to everybody, the commissioners, the colleagues in the gallery, colleagues in Zoom. I'm also going to ask for a little grace because as many of you have been doing over the last, year, have been thinking a lot about where I've been, where I am, and where I am going, particularly in terms of using my time, talent, and whatever resources and treasures I have to advocate for the profession that I love and my life's work. And so my report is going to be both reflective, a report, but also I'm going to leave us all with kind of a call to action. So I ask that you give me grace. And I'm going to read from my remarks because you all know that I can be a little long, and I'm trying to honor Chair Greneau-Shire's call that we end by 10:15. So each time I prepare for our meetings, I'm struck by what a privilege it is to represent the University of California and work alongside such amazing colleagues and angelic troublemakers. I'm also reminded of the tremendous responsibility that comes with the privileges of sitting at this table, particularly now when we're at such a consequential moment for educator preparation, the future of public education in our state, and the preservation of our democracy. As Commissioner Erickson mentioned earlier, we're living through a period of deep challenge and extraordinary opportunity. California's ambitious vision for universal access to high quality, inclusive education, spanning from early learning through higher education, demands that we rethink not only how we prepare teachers, but how we sustain and elevate the education workforce as a whole. The stakes are very high, as we all know, and our collective response will shape the pipeline of educators who anchor our schools, drive student success, and safeguard our democracy. Across the UC system, we are leaning into this moment with urgency and imagination. Our campuses are advancing transformative approaches to educator workforce development, deepening partnerships with K-12 districts and community colleges, building and expanding residency and apprenticeship pathways, and aligning preparation with the diverse realities of our local school. System-wide, we are operationalizing our collective focus on inclusion, multilingualism, community-based practice, and the power of teaching as a civic and intellectual profession by redesigning coursework around culturally sustaining pedagogies, integrating technology and AI literacy into our programs, and working closely with our LEA partners to animate our collective vision for local schools. And across the UC system, there's real momentum around that work, bringing research to the table, not as an afterthought, but as a through line that informs how we educate the next generation of educators and leaders who will not only sustain, but transform California's education ecosystem. We continue to advance our collective efforts in three critical areas. First, teacher preparation and apprenticeship pathways. We're working closely with CSU, community colleges, and K-12 districts to grow and expand high-quality, debt-reducing teacher pathways, particularly for paraprofessionals and classified staff who reflect the diversity of California's students. UC is actively shaping new models of teacher residencies and apprenticeships that merge rigorous preparation with paid learning experiences. We're also focusing on research practice partnerships in community schools, doubling down on research that translates directly into school and community impact, from early literacy to bilingual education to mental health supports, and we're especially proud of our UC Community Schools partnership. Lastly, our third driver for change is educator well-being and retention. We're investing in programs that prioritize teacher well-being, mentoring, and professional learning, because recruitment without retention is not transformation. So I'm proud to highlight just a couple of our most recent bright spots. First, the challenges that we're facing have spurred more cross-discipline collaboration amongst our campuses, including UC Davis, where a TK-12 collaborative has formed that bridges departments, programs, local K-12 partners, and as well as development officers to develop plans to support local schools through professional learning, leadership development, and instructional resources, and placements of student teachers and interns. Importantly, this initiative is engaging campus development officers and government relations staff from its inception, and in what I believe would be a model for others. The second highlight is just 3 weeks ago, the U.S. Department of Education informed the UC Office of the President that the UC has been awarded a Gaining Early Academic Readiness for Undergraduate Programs, Gear Up is what we refer to it as, grant totaling $66 million over a 7-year period. The award will support the California Gear Up initiative by strengthening classroom instruction, supporting families, and preparing students for college and career, ensuring that more than 26,000 students in low-income communities are equipped to succeed in higher education and beyond. Our collective agency and legal efforts, through our collective agency and legal efforts, the federal courts have consistently ruled against the Trump administration's funding cuts, ordering the restoration of over $500 million in grants to UCLA and to other UC campuses. And I think when we think about advocacy, one of the things that the actions that resulted from that, I believe, is the threats to federal funding, is that the UC sparked a Stand for UC campaign, which includes the hashtag Research Powers Progress. And that's really created greater public awareness about the impact of the UC faculty research on the public good. And I think that we should all be raising awareness about why the work we do matters, why university-based teacher preparation and other preparation models matter. And social media has really taken hold of that message. And of course, I said this at CCTE last week. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention on the list of bright spots that 2 weeks ago, 5 University of California professors were awarded Nobel Peace Prizes. I'm gonna leave that and just let it sit, just marinate on that for a moment. That while we should and we will celebrate these victories, the events of this year are a stark reminder that we cannot and should not let the shine of our accomplishments distract us. At last week's CCT conference, I was reminded that the future of educator preparation depends on the strength of our intersegmental partnership. UC, CSU, community colleges, independent universities, and K-12 systems working as one ecosystem. It depends on the imagination, creativity, strength, and resolve of this very commission. And so, the call to action, as we listen, learn, discuss, and deliberate today and tomorrow, I hope we hold both the urgency and opportunity of this moment, because our commitment to preparing and supporting excellent educators is not just an education agenda, it's a democracy agenda. It is our individual and collective agenda. And I'm so proud, happy, and privileged to work that agenda with everybody at the table. Thank you.
Commissioner Francois. Commissioner Pabry.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It's always hard to follow Commissioner Francois. I mean, thank you so much for your incredible call to action. And similarly with our other intersegmental partners, I think you made such important points around advocacy, around intersegmental partnerships, about working together to transform in these particularly difficult times. I want to add my welcome to our 2 new commissioners, Commissioner Simpson, and our student. Shout out to our student from San Diego State, Joseph Morrison. Welcome to the commission. And to Monica and Bonnie, we are really going to miss you. I've learned so much from you, and thank you for all your service. Bonnie, a virtual hug to you. I hope our paths cross again soon. So I wanted to make 2 quick announcements from the CSU that would be of interest to everyone here and folk listening in. The CSU is extremely excited to launch a new Spark Early Childhood Hub. And I'll tell you, Spark stands for System-Wide Partnership for Advancing Research and Knowledge in Early Childhood. And so Spark will be a statewide hub for collaboration, research, and innovation across the CSU campuses and our partners, our intersegmental partners, our school district, and our policy partners. Spark will bring together faculty, administrators, and communities to advance equity-driven practices, research, and curriculum to support young children from birth through the age of 8. And through this work, Spark Early Childhood will strengthen pathways, policy, and practice to ensure that California's youngest learners thrive in high-quality, inclusive education systems. So we look forward to your partnership. We look forward to sharing more with you as we roll out the activities of our center. And I also wanted to invite all of you to an upcoming webinar series that will be launched this year by our CSU Center for the Advancement of Reading and Writing, CARW. This is a series of free webinars for the California teacher preparation community aimed at supporting literacy teacher preparation across the state. Our first webinar is coming up November 7th. We will make sure that you have this information both through Haiju and through our PSDE news. The webinar is entitled Elevating Literacy Pedagogy, Aligning with Standard 7 for Strong Foundations. And it will explore how programs can strengthen their alignment with Standard 7 to better support teacher candidates' understanding of literacy development across the grades. It'll feature 2 of our CSU faculty, Dr. Madeline Mejia from Cal State Fullerton and Dr. Dominic Grasso from Cal State Northridge. So we're excited to get the word out to you all and invite everyone's participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Pabry, and I wish you could have seen Commissioner Brown's face when you talked about Spark. Any other commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Davis.
Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I wanted to say to Commissioner Simpson, he probably doesn't remember me, but helped shepherd me through those lobbying, the CTA days, when I came through Sacramento here. And also welcome to Student Liaison Morrison. Excellent interview, and we appreciate having you here at this time. I would be remiss if I didn't say something special about my friends, Commissioner Martinez and Cladd. But I'm not going to say goodbye, but I'll say farewell for now because I'll see you tomorrow anyway. Also, I'll probably on Friday helping to fix a water main break. We talk about you when you're not present. So, but in all seriousness, I wanted to just highlight some of the things, echoing what Commissioner Francois said about some of the great things that are happening in the world of education as I represent teachers across California. In our CBEI, the California Black Educators Initiative with the National Board, we have met our halfway point. We had a mission to get 900 Black educators National Board certified within 3 years. We're about 450 teachers in so far, which is good because the initiative has only been going for about 1.5 years. So have met almost half of the quota there that we've been trying to get through the system. So we do have a lively bunch of folks from the state of California, and I would say about 30% of which are from the Bay Area. So I get to work with a lot of teachers in the Oakland and Berkeley areas in that through Stanford, who is a partner with the CBEI, and also through CREO, through UC Berkeley, who's also another partner. The other adventure I got to go on, and this is when I made that ominous phone call to Executive Director Sandy, where Liz was on the phone, and she was just starstruck because she goes, "You know the lady that signed my credential?" And so as I meet newer folks to the profession, I go, "Yeah, I do know some of these people." And she goes, "She didn't believe me, so I figured you'd answer the phone and say hi." And she's kind of faint, but and she just left the voicemail. But she was still a little shy and apprehensive. She goes, "Are you seriously calling her?" Yes, I was. So, but I met her at the CAN, the CANN, the California Newcomers Network Conference. And they had their first annual conference this year, sponsored by the California Newcomers Network. And it was hosted at the Merced County Office of Education. And so the founders of this program, Efren Tobar in 2022, was hosted by him and Sam Finn, who is the director. They gave not only immigration stats, because that was some of what we needed to hear at this session, but they gave resource data, and they also had sessions where participants were able to receive teaching resources, and we got to exchange ideas for best practices for our newcomer population. I'm going to give you a couple of statistics. 1 in 36 kids in every California classroom is a newcomer. 43% of those students speak Spanish. 67% of those students are socioeconomically disadvantaged. And immigration rates have coincided with a 22% in chronic absenteeism. I also attended a newcomer network yesterday, sponsored by CAN as well, where the topic centered around best practices with the amygdala in the mind while keeping that in mind while lesson planning. This is a great organization. I recommend that if you'd like to join, it's a free organization to join. So you can visit calnew.net, if you'd like to join or get more information. And so they have different regions, and this is Region 7 that covers the Central Valley. And I think I may have texted Commissioner Cardenas in the middle to ask if he would bring, because it was so close by where he sort of purchased there with his work. Again, I want to circle back to I appreciate the levity of our work. and highlighting the positive things, and that we are not ignoring the obvious things that are happening in our society. As we see social media, we see the destruction of families. We see that people are just not being treated fairly in our world now, even more so than usual. And that we keep that in mind as we focus on the children, the most vulnerable in this situation, as we move forward in our work. And hopefully we keep those folks centered, their families centered in our hearts and minds when we are making decisions. Thank you.
Commissioner Cotton. I have updates to share with you from the California Department of Education. Just welcome commissioners. It's on meet you. I also want to share gratitude to Commissioner Klatt and Commissioner Martinez for your service to the commission and just great colleague. I do want to share, keeping in mind the landscape that we as educators and educators across the state are navigating with and on behalf of our students and families, we must consider the importance of preparing, attracting, retaining, and caring, knowledgeable, and affirming teachers, counselors, psychologists, speech language pathologists, administrators. Yesterday, I learned that ICE activity be escalating in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that there's a target on our sanctuary cities, 2 of which are in my district. As a result, I'm witnessing real time these actions are causing, through the fear that our families are experiencing, what it looks like today in real time is an increase in absenteeism and heightened anxiety for students and our staff within our schools. I just want to lift up the importance of the work that we do on this commission in terms of bringing those caring adults into the lives of our students, thoughtful people into spaces that provide care for our children and our families. That up this morning, and that is something that is very real for our families, for our students, and the folks that we serve. Other topics of the day. National Board Certification. We're pleased to announce that the application for National Board Certification will be available on November 3rd. The subsidy program provides $2,500 to become nationally board certified, teaching in high priority schools. And then our incentive program, which will also provide incentive grants of up to $25,000 for teachers who are working in high priority schools. So definitely talk to CDE or CTC staff as we are shifting the focus of the National Board subsidy and incentive programs to the commission and beginning in 2027. I also want to let you know that the results are in from the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, or the CASP, and the English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, the LPAC. And this is supporting our kindergarten through the 12th grade students. In total, the proportions of students clearly meeting grade level expectations, scoring at levels 2, 3, and 4, grew in English language arts, mathematics, and science. This also means that the proportion of students scoring at the minimal level, level 1, decreased, which is great news, for each of the tests to 29.4% in ELA, 39% in math, and 14.1% in science. Other data points of interest in the California assessments showed that Black or African American students and Hispanic Latino students made higher than average improvements in ELA, math, and science. So for more information, you can definitely check out the CAS, CAA, SPP-ELPAC california.ets.org for additional information, or go on DataQuest so you can check out what's happening here. The California Community Schools Partnership Program, which launched in 2021, is one of the largest community schools initiatives in CCSPP, builds partnerships between public schools, families, and community organizations to provide resources such as mental health services or family outreach that serve the whole child. A new study published by the Learning Policy Institute, released in September, it's titled Community Schools Impact on Student Outcomes, Evidence from California, shows that the CCSPP funded community schools improved attendance rates, reduced suspension, and improved academic achievement at higher rates compared to similar schools that did not implement a community schools program. On average, our community schools showed a 30% greater reduction in chronic absenteeism as compared to similar schools. So definitely take a look at that LPI brief, or you can visit the CDE website for more information. I do want to lift up also that the California Public Schools AI Working Group that was established under SB 1288 in 2024 brings together educators, students, experts, and educational partners to develop guidance and model policy for the safe, equitable, and effective use of AI in schools. And so I just wanted to lift that work up. Members are meeting publicly 3 times between August 2025 and February 2026. The working group aims to develop statewide guidance and a model policy, topics such as data privacy, academic integrity, professional development, equitable access, and effective classroom integration. Please check out the CDE website to access the agenda, minutes, and schedule. And finally, I just want to share that this may be my final meeting with the commission. As a commission delegate in support of our state superintendent of public instruction, serving in this role has allowed me to engage in, and I hope have an impact on the credentialing and preparation of educators across our state. I really appreciate the leadership of Executive Director Sandy and Chair Shire and all of our commissioners and staff. Just thank you for this experience, this is kind of a huge joy for me. And so I'm glad to have had this experience and to work with all of you. Thank you.
Well, Superintendent Cotton, we didn't realize this was your last commission meeting, so
You have to gather in for dinner.
we may have to gather again. Thank you for your service, your wisdom, your commitment and passion to students and educators in our state. I'll miss you. Commissioner, yes, good Marquita.
No, sorry.
Commissioner Clapp.
Oh, this is, I kind of have notes, but I feel like there's so many things I want to say. So I'm going to try to stick to my notes. And if I forget anything, I'm going to try to get it all in there. But first of all, again, welcome to Commissioner Simpson and to our new student liaison, Morrison. I'm sorry that this will be my only meeting getting to work with you at this table, but I'll still be watching. I'll be here to see all that you will bring. And I did, Commissioner Cotton, I didn't know, and Commissioner Martinez, wherever she is, I'd say I will miss you at the table, but I won't be here either. But I'm so grateful for both of you. And I wanted to give out just kind of 3 kind of notes of gratitude that I wanted to express, kind of shout outs and thank yous. First of all, to commissioners, all of you who are at the table and those who have been at the table and aren't here anymore. I can't say how much my gratitude to all of you. To go back to what I think Commissioner Francois, you said that you hear us sometimes when you're not here. Your voices, your wisdom, your passion, your expertise over these years really has been such light for me. And I think about the challenges we faced in education, whether it was political or COVID, or right now, as Commissioner Cotton brought up, like some of my students and what they're going through. And some of my most discouraging moments, I come to this meeting, to this table, and especially our first hour here when people, I hear the chair and executive director's reports, I hear everyone reporting out. it gives me such hope and such optimism that we're going to be okay. I don't want to minimize what's happening, but the voices here have lifted me up so much. And I'll definitely have to keep listening, especially to these opening remarks to keep that light shining for me. I also wanted to give a shout out to staff, both the staff that supports all of us here at this table, our IT staff, and of course, Rhonda and Ju. The staff here is so amazing and so wonderful. And again, when I'm doing my day-to-day teaching thing, and I think about there's a team of people working here to make things better for teachers and for students in California, and that gives me hope as well. And as part of that shout out, in closed session, people don't normally see our legal team and how the work that they do. So I know they're not in the room right now, but a shout out and a thank you to the incredibly passionate and hardworking legal team that works behind the scenes. They so inspire me with their passion for what they do. And my last thank you is really to the whole community and process, our stakeholders, the people who participate in these meetings and are willing to give their time and share their expertise to visit us. The process and seeing the process that this commission over the years, I think, has just expanded voices. And voices are so important. And I feel so privileged to have been able to be a voice at this table for teachers. And so thank you to everybody that has created this process. And that leads me to my closing comment. And I'm watching the time. Okay, quick little anecdote. 2 weeks ago, I got to go to New York City for the first time. And as a tourist in New York City, I was there for a couple of days by myself, so I got to do whatever I wanted. The very first thing I did when I got to New York City is I went to the New York City Public Library. And I walked up the stairs and the marble lions were there, and tears just started on my face. And as I wandered around the New York City Public Library, I was the crazy lady crying as I looked at all the things. And I was thinking, why am I crying? And it was like tears of joy about just, I grew up, seeing these lions and seeing this place. It's, for those of you who have been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's a palace, it's palatial, it's these marble huge columns, and you walk through this building and everything is beautiful and there are books everywhere. And I thought, there was a time in our nation's history when people got together and built a palace for books that would be free for people, anyone could come. And just the resources this community New York City devoted to build this palace for learning and for books. I was just so struck and both kind of nostalgic for that time, but also just happy that it was there. And here's my connection back to here. I think that the commission and under the leadership of Executive Director Sandy and the chair and everyone here, feel like we might not be building with marble, but this commission builds a palace for teachers. It builds pathways, it builds processes. And so it gave me, again, that this commission gives me the hope and the optimism that we can build things that matter and that are lasting and will help our students by helping our teachers. So huge gratitude to everyone who's been part of my time here.
Oh. Any liaisons have any reports? Yes, Liaison Rodriguez.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Klatt. I am going to miss you. I'm going to miss your knowledge, your wisdom, your just soft heart and compassionate heart. And your words are so beautiful. I'm holding back the tears because, I really wanted to be there. I made every effort to be at the meeting today to say goodbye to you and give you a hug. But I'm sick and I didn't want to get everybody else sick or get worse. So that's why I'm zooming in. And Commissioner Martinez, who isn't there today, I, also thank you so much for your service, Commissioner Klatt and Commissioner Martinez. You have added so much knowledge and wisdom and compassion and sensitivity. And it's always such a pleasure to hear you speak at meetings. And I'd also like to welcome the new commissioner and the new student representative, and I hope to see you in person in December. So I will, and Commissioner Cotton also, I'm so sad that I didn't get an opportunity to see you in person, but hopefully I'll see you soon. Our paths will cross, I'm sure. So to continue with my liaison report, and I will make it quick. Good morning, commissioners and the public. I have a few updates from the last State Board of Education meeting. The board approved threshold scores for the California Spanish assessment, which serves a partial measure for the state seal of biliteracy. The board voted that a student must score at least a 3 to meet in requirements for the state seal of biliteracy. We also approved revisions to the student score reports for ELA, math, science, and Spanish. Importantly, the numbering is renamed. 1 is minimal, 2 developing, 3 proficient, and 4 advanced. We also heard a wonderful update from the California College Guidance Initiative. Its platform, californiacolleges.edu, which has a tutorial, by the way, is being rolled out statewide for all high school students to plan for and seamlessly apply to college. There are also career exploration tools and student-friendly financial aid lessons. CCGI works closely with CDE's Education Data Management Division and californiacolleges.edu, which is available for families, students, public school educators, all free of charge. Some of my colleagues who have high school age students were getting so excited, geeking out with all of the information that's available to students. So I hope you have an opportunity to check it out. And lastly, I was incredibly moved by an item that our board here heard on the 4 model curricula, kindergarten through 12th grade, Vietnamese American experience, Cambodian American studies, Hmong history and cultural studies, and Native American studies. A big thank you to the Orange County Department of Education and Humboldt County Office of Education and the San Diego Office of Ed for their work developing this curricula. Students from these rich cultural backgrounds attend high schools across our states, and it's time we had a model curricula to ensure that their identities are reflected in our classrooms. All 4 model curricula are now available at no cost to LEAs on a dedicated online platform, and we're exploring how to implement these in my school, which is very exciting. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the rest of the meeting.
Liaison Rodriguez.
Okay, I now recess the general session and move to the Educator Preparation Committee. Commissioner Cardenas, will you please convene the committee?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the October 2025 meeting of the Educator Preparation Committee to order. We have 6 items on the agenda. All items are scheduled for today. First item for today is 2A, initial institutional approval, stage 2 eligibility requirements for Arizona State University. This item is being presented by Hart Boyd and Francis Keller. This is an action item. Will you please begin?
Yes, I believe we have some Arizona State representatives here. Morning. Item 2A presents for the Commission's consideration and possible approval, Arizona State University's responses to the Stage 2 eligibility requirements, initial program preconditions, general precondition number 9. Arizona State University is seeking initial institutional approval for eligibility to offer the following programs: preliminary PK3 early childhood education specialist instruction, preliminary multiple subject, and preliminary single subject. Joining us today, live and in person, are institutional representatives, Doctors Earl Basile Dean and Professor of the Mary Lou Fulton College of Teaching and Learning Innovation at Arizona State University, and Elizabeth Frias, Associate Director for Graduate Pathways and Clinical Associate Professor. They are here to answer any questions regarding Arizona State University's Stage 2 submission, and you will find the full submission provided as a link on the second page of this item. On over to Frances.
Moving on to page 3 of the item, you will find the IIA chart with the current stage highlighted. It should be noted that approval of eligibility in stage 2 does not permit Arizona State University to offer the proposed preliminary programs. As more specific information and documentation regarding the design of the proposed program will be submitted in subsequent stages of the IIA process. On pages 4 through 6 of the item, you will find the staff recommendations of aligned for criteria 1 through 9. On pages 7 through 12, you will find Arizona State University's responses to criteria 10, 11, and 12 for the Commission's consideration. For criterion 11, you will find the institution is required to post a third-party notification on their website. To date, no comments have been received via this method. On pages 12 through 14, you will find Arizona State University's responses to initial program preconditions 1 and 2, along with general precondition 9 for the Commission's consideration. Finally, considering the information provided in this agenda item, staff recommends that the Commission grant eligibility to Arizona State University, which would allow the institution to move forward to stage 3. The Commission may identify topics it may want to see addressed in stage 3 or subsequent stages. If the Commission chooses to deny eligibility, it may identify what it sees as incomplete in the current submission. The institution may then address those items and come forward again for approval of stage 2. Once again, institutional representatives are available to answer any questions regarding their stage 2 submission, and staff are available to answer any process questions. Thank you for your consideration of the item.
Thank you. We'll now open for public comment. If there are members of the public that would like to make a comment, please notify the meeting moderator by submitting a request card or by clicking on the raise hand icon, participating through Zoom, or pressing *9 if participating by phone. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, are there any public comments?
Adon Luevano.
Hi, thank you. My name is Adon Luevano. I'm here with CFT. I'm also a school psychologist in San Francisco, and I'm a native Arizonan, where my mother, who is a school teacher, went through ASU's education department. Many want to speak. I did recently see that there was 7 letters, or 8 letters, or 7 letters in support and 1 anonymous letter against this proposal. One of the biggest issues, and you'll probably hear me say this as I come to these meetings, is recruitment. Our education system is slowly collapsing. We have schools that don't have special education teachers in there, where students are not receiving their services, specifically in special education, but in general education as well. So any support to increase the possibilities of young or just people coming into this profession to be educators, I support. And knowing that ASU has a high-ranked school Department of Education, I've had other family members go and just other friends and family, so I support that. And I just wanted to make sure that that anonymous letter was countered in some fashion. Thank you very much.
Cooney, please unmute your microphone and share your comment.
Yes, hi, my name is Casey Cuny. I'm the 2024 California Teacher of the Year. I've taught in California for 23 years at the high school level, starting at Van Nuys High in Los Angeles, and now currently at Valencia High School in Santa Clarita. I've also taught at National University in the Teacher Credential Program, as well as the Masters of Ed program for 13 years, and I'm currently the 2025 National University Delphi Award winner for academic excellence. I had the amazing opportunity to work with ASU this summer, where I designed 5 syllabi for the potential California Teaching Credential Program. And I've been so impressed with ASU's focus on authentic assessment, practical application, research-based methods, and a focus on culturally responsive pedagogy. They really lean in to practical application and helping teacher candidates build their practice and their approach, which is exactly what a first-year teacher needs. As an instructional coach for 15 years, I've watched too many first-year teachers enter the classroom from subpar preparation programs only to burn out, overwhelmed and ill-equipped to handle the daily realities and the complex challenges of teaching. But my experience building the 5 courses this summer and seeing the work of the entire program was really inspiring. And it left me feeling very positive and confident about the future impact of ASU on the teaching force in California. In the U.S. News and World Report, just this year, ASU's Mary Lou Fulton College for Teaching and Learning Innovation ranked 17th overall in the nation, ahead of Michigan State, ahead of Ohio State University, ahead of Washington University. They ranked 2nd nationally in education research expenditures. As you know, the teacher shortage is real, and we can't find people to fill positions. Allowing ASU to come in with their global reach would only be a good thing. They will be an asset to the California Teacher Credential Program, to the teaching system, and to the teaching profession in this great state where we hold such a high standard of excellence. Thank you very much for your time.
Request for public.
Thank you. The public comment period for this item is now closed. Commissioners have any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Lloyd?
I have a question. Thank you for coming to us. I'm very impressed with your program. I do have a question regarding the anonymous letter. Is it true that your staff are prohibited from giving constructive feedback to participants?
Actually, no. At the end of our course evaluations, students provide feedback or they provide a ranking on the quality of feedback, the timeliness and the quality. So it's actually part of our annual review process that we are giving constructive, timely feedback to our students. And it goes against the academic affairs standard.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Davis.
And just, I have a wonder with the program that's offered program in education, because you already have an established program. Would this be a different way for California teachers, or would this be the way that there are teachers here in California have the standard for school in general for preparing post-graduate system?
Yes and yes. So today in teacher education, it's interesting to me. I could go on a lot about what we're doing here and why we're doing it here. Let me start by telling you that, first of all, ASU has over 20,000 students, California students. In my college alone, we have 2,000 California students. We are already preparing California teachers, many of whom are in California. We're also doing a lot of other work in California. You know, we have a presence in LA right now and all that. In my view, we have a program in Arizona that is incredibly flexible. We think about every pathway. We've tried to think about every modality. We've tried to move everything out of the way that we possibly can for students. So yes, we are preparing for Arizona. We also are preparing for California because I also believe or very different systems in California and in Arizona, because I believe that teacher education today also has to be more demand-centric than it is supply-centered. Today, teacher preparation, we prepare widget teachers. We have a model, we have a way of doing things. What we're trying to do is to find out where is the best in all of that, and also to be whether it's Arizona, California, Rhode Island, wherever we are. But we also are trying to pay attention to what's happening in the context of California schools and Arizona schools to say, how do we also think about the program in relation to those schools, those contexts, all of those people. And so it's always, right, we're always about the standards, about what we need to do to meet the standards. We're also about how do we also build programs that meet the context. Your context is different than our context. Every context across California is different. And so that's how we think about how we build programs.
And excuse me, I follow up. System had a great educational experience, but did not have some of the same requirements that California teachers have for the graduation. And the ASU to have a different experience, skirt around some of our requirements, and then.
And so we're trying to stop that.
To get a
Right,
California credential.
right. And so if we can do this, we don't have to do that. Students don't have to do that.
They would have their own concentration with their program code. And so we would be able to track, and the courses, as Casey had mentioned, that we started working on developing are all aligned to the TPEs, as opposed to our Arizona approved programs are aligned to InTask. And so that's why we're thinking about the context of it, and then thinking about performance assessment as well.
So in that review process, I apologize, I'm an accreditation geek, so I couldn't answer these kind of questions. So in the context of what you just said, so there would be the disparate pathways, but they're it's the same to the same end, but different pathways. So if I were a candidate and I applying for credential staff for the state of California, I would have to meet all of the California requirements now. I know. Okay.
And you would be in a separate plan code, be able to track in that, as opposed to our Arizona elementary. That's correct.
First, Commissioner Pavri, and then Commissioner Simmons.
Thanks. Good morning. It's good to see you, Dean Bazile. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Commission. I'm sorry I couldn't hear clearly all the questions that Commissioner Davis asked, so I apologize if I'm repeating something that he did inquire about. But I did have a follow-up around the California context, and I understand that you are going to be, tracking your students differently and providing differentiated services, keeping California students separately. My question has to do with, again, how you're building capacity amongst your personnel who will be working within the with students in the California context, and specifically, if you could speak to, faculty, supervisors, clinical partnerships, community engagement, again, localizing the educator preparation to meet the needs of the region.
So that will all be about hiring people in California to do this work. It has to be people who are here, who know your standards, your accreditation. It's not going to be people in Arizona trying to do this in California. So the intent is that should we get this approval, we will hire in California. You heard Casey talking about, we've already reached out to him. We're already working with school systems in California to start to build that capacity here.
Commissioner Pavri, is there a follow-up or no?
It's fine. We will have we look forward to the next times and hearing a little bit more about how you're developing that.
Commissioner Simmons?
I have 100% on topic. The 2,000 candidates that you currently serve to be future educators in California, what are the extra steps that they would have to do to transfer their Arizona credential to California?
And speaking in front of the experts, so I'm not going to tell you the whole truth. So you have to get your
as much as you
get your Arizona teaching credential, and then you apply to the CTC to get your California teaching credential. And then, as I know, just from talking about former students, that there are deficiencies. There are tests that you have to take. There are the application fees. And then I know that they have to go through an induction program at their districts. And so there's a little bit of a catch up, I believe, for those candidates who graduate with their Arizona certification when they go into a California school. And again, thinking about our programs are preparing people for the Arizona PK-12 teaching standards. They also too then need to adapt to the California PK-12 teaching standards.
Many of them are undergraduates.
I see that Director Skubal has come to the table.
Hi, I'm Erin Skubal, Director of Licensing at Provisional, so oversee the certification process. So I can elaborate on that a little bit for you, Commissioner Simmons. Candidates, from Arizona and any other state are going to be evaluated for a comparable teaching credential to the California credential that they're requesting. So it's really going to be dependent on what subject area and credential type they're applying for. As well, they're going to be assessed for subject matter competence. And so the vast majority of candidates coming in qualify based on their subject area of their out-of-state credentials. So that's typically not something that they would also need to complete. Previously, they were held for basic skills requirement. However, now with changes in legislation recently, they meet that requirement through possession of a bachelor's degree. So that's also a requirement that's not really applicable to folks any longer. The primary area that folks are held for is the English learner requirement. We find that most candidates coming in do not always meet that requirement. So they are issued their preliminary 5-year credential, and then they have a 5-year window to complete either the CTEL coursework program or the examination. So that's typically the largest deficiency that we see out of state candidates coming in.
Questions?
Since I have you here, can I follow up? Are they able to do that with the national board?
As far as coming in as an out-of-state candidate, yes, absolutely. And typically national board candidates straight to the clear credential. So yes, they are able to do that.
Induction.
Right.
Required to induction.
Candidates that come in with the out-of-state pathway and do not have 2 or more years of full-time teaching experience are held for induction as well. So they need to complete the 2-year induction program prior to earning the clear credential.
Are there any other commissioners? Commissioner Erickson?
So if a candidate comes in without any previous teaching experience, they would have to take the teaching performance.
Correct. Out-of-state candidates are not held for any type of TPA. So their licensure in the state that they're coming from satisfies those teacher preparation requirements.
Thank you.
We're also at a point in Arizona where we are working very, very hard because our students need to work to find them jobs early, like freshman year, sophomore year, right, as paraprofessionals and things like that. So many of our students are already getting lots of experience before they are coming to you, us. They need more of it. And we're counting it as their student teaching and their internship and all that is also helping time to completion, time to degree, those kinds of things. So we hope that they're coming to you with more experience.
Other commissioners? Commissioner Pavri?
I'm sorry, I have a point of clarification, and I think, Erin, maybe this is more for you. I'm a little confused after hearing this latest clarification. So will the students who attend ASU's credential program, should it be approved, would ASU be operating as an in-state institution, or would these students be out-of-state students attending an out-of-state institution?
So I would categorize them as what pathway are these students completing to earn their preliminary credential. So if the program is approved today, students would now have a new pathway through Arizona State University to complete California preparation. So while they may physically be located outside of California, they are completing a California approved preparation program, and they would be California prepared individuals. So they could also continue on an out-of-state path, but it sounds like the institution is looking to move all of their candidates who want to complete California preparation into the California program.
I think Director Sullivan came to the table.
No, just in case.
Commissioner Pavri, did you have a follow-up to that?
No, I think if I'm understanding correctly, let me just clarify that the students could be in-state and ASU operating in-state, but since you already have students from California and your out-of-state program, you've got a mix of both.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We're just trying to give as many pathways as we can. But the preference, right, for California students for California is that they come through a California pathway, and we're trying to do that. Because right now either they're coming through and they're working around, or we're giving, and they're getting Arizona licensure, but then they're having to do all these other steps. We're trying to avoid that. They're already coming to us. We're trying to make sure we are more in line with California so that they come out prepared in the way that you want them to be prepared.
Got it. Thanks. Thanks. That helps.
Commissioner Erickson?
So if they're in the California pathway, they would have the 600 hours of student teach clinical practice. They'd have to pass the TPAs. They have,
Okay, we hope more, but yes.
Yeah, we're designing it for more, for more than the 600 hours, because we want them to have some preparation before they go into the clinical.
But this is all about how do we get them jobs in California and keep them in California schools.
Any other commissioners? I just had a question about, maybe it's too much into the weeds, but are they paying out-of-state tuition or in-state tuition?
They're online, so we have ASU online tuition rate. So our current programs, our current graduate educator preparation programs, which is second largest population, California residents, they pay an ASU online tuition rate. So we don't do in-state or out-of-state.
Thank you. Is there any other commissioners? Commissioner De La Torre?
I make a motion to
approve. Have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Davis, sorry. I think I heard you, but I saw you. Have a first, De La Torre, second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Davis.
Just want to thank you for the clarifications because this has been a secret concern of mine. Not to speak of this because it's a tremendous, what I see is
Your hand's raised.
Our sound doesn't, okay.
Commissioner Francois, can you hear us?
Oh, can you hear me? I apologize. I feel like my sound went out. Just a point of order. First, I want to say thank you to the ASU representatives for presenting today. I have a couple questions and comments, but they're general questions and comments for the staff, not specific to ASU's submission. Do I ask those now?
You can go ahead and ask those now.
Okay, so whenever we have a initial institutional approval agenda item, you know that I always ask about need, and this is not going to be any different. And I appreciate in the initial preconditions, there's a question around the demonstration of need. And we know that we have a teacher shortage. And generally when we talk about need, we talk about these big numbers of shortages. Sometimes we connect it to particular content areas. And I just want to know what efforts we take when we go through this initial process to ensure that we are filling the needs geographically. And what I mean by that is are we approving programs to work in particular geographic areas that have the most significant shortages? Because as I went back to the initial preconditions and I noticed that the demonstration of needs, and I really appreciated the needs analysis, it was LA that was really, they talked about, and the numbers were very small compared to the numbers of students and teachers in LA, in Los Angeles. And I thought, well, and like 23 K-12 multiple subject, single subject teacher credentials. I'm sure that there are other areas with greatest needs, but I couldn't find in the information analyses of those geographic areas. So I'm asking the staff how we ensure that programs that we approve are not only meeting subject matter needs, but also within particular geographic areas. The second comment that I have is and the last two are kind of connected to one another, is as I read this, I thought to myself, I need to know more about online programs, and I need to know more about I need to be provided more learning opportunities to understand what are the key standards related to online programs? Because my work has always been on face-to-face programs, right? To help inform my discussion about these kinds of programs that consistently come before this commission. I think in my recollection, most of the initial approvals that we've had over the last several years have been online programs. And which leads me to my third question. So I need learning opportunities. And this, my third comment is, if that is the case, and I need to go back and look at all the programs that we've approved in the past, 10 years, and the demand for these programs are because of the format by which they are being offered online, which signals to me that we should be putting more effort in our California programs to build online options. I appreciate the success rate of ASU. I think y'all are doing a fine job. But we also need to be building better online programs in California, programs that are already within the context of California, if that is really the reason why, or one of the main reasons why, kids who want to teach in California are looking for outside programs offered outside of the state of California to become teachers in California. So if staff could look into, or if you want to weigh in on all three of those things, I know it's kind of a lot of information, but I think that we got to be really careful about how we meet the needs in California and how California educator preparation programs are building to meet those needs in more creative ways.
Fair? Or
Would the staff want to respond before I make a suggestion?
Sure. No, I'd love to just have a lot of thoughts, Commissioner Francois, about what you said. We do not have separate or distinct standards for online programs. But you're making me think about, should we have some additional or separate requirements for all online? Because we have a lot of institutions, even in California, that do a lot of online learning. The majority of their candidates are doing online learning. And we at the staff level have had some conversations about, things that we see that we wonder about. So at the moment, we don't have specific standards for online programs. So that is an interesting point of thoughts, the point of consideration for us. Secondly, it's a little complicated with, I would say, ASU, because as they've mentioned, they're sort of already operating in California, and we are anxious to have them come join our system. Because as they've said as well, and I think we really appreciate, they recognize that they're preparing students that are going to become California credentialed teachers. So if we can get their program aligned to our California standards, we can have I think a higher level of confidence that those folks aren't looping around a system or finding a system loophole, that they're getting the full preparation here in California to be the California educators that commissioners want them to be. And then the other point, when you talked about over the years, we've approved a lot of online programs, and I think that's true. I also know that we've modified this process over the years as commissioners have had different focus areas or expressed different areas of concern. So I don't know that you would be able to see a similar approval process necessarily. But what that means also is that to a certain extent, this can be a living process. So if there are some areas that we'd like to tweak again, to focus on some things, some areas of commissioner concern, I think we can certainly take that under consideration as well.
Thanks so much for that. And I just want to underscore, my comments are not about ASU. All right. I actually have a great deal of respect for what I know of ASU. in the teacher education world. It's not about that. It is about what concerns that I have around this precedent. It feels like a precedence that we're setting around online programs that are preparing teachers in ways that California programs need to be preparing teachers. And, I'm always concerned about context matters, right? And so if I'm going to use ASU as an example, ASU is an online program that does, say, localized clinical practice so that you're getting the context of California, or the context of geographic areas of California as you're learning online. I actually think it's a wonderful model. I also question, and maybe it's because I don't know, why California institutions are not doing that for themselves. And I'm also questioning whether the graduates of those programs, is there a mechanism to ensure that we are serving both subject matter need as well as geographic need? Every time a program comes before us, not every time, that's an exaggeration. See, Anna Marie, stop exaggerating. But oftentimes when we see these needs assessments, it's LA. I'm an LA-based teacher educator, right? Yes, there are some needs in LA, but it's not the greatest needs in the state. And because of the number of schools and the number of teachers, number of students in LA, it's always used to demonstrate need. And I don't think that is, I'm concerned about that. That's all I'm saying. So I appreciate your thoughtfulness, Aaron, around this. And I look forward to more conversation about online programs, moving California programs forward, and how we can better partner with out-of-state programs to meet the California need.
Thank you, Chair Grimshire.
Thank you. Thank you for this very thoughtful discussion. And thank you to our ASU colleagues for coming to visit us and your proposal. Truth in Advertising, I'm a great fan of Dean Carol Basile. I served on the AECTE board with her. And during board meetings, she would talk about all this innovative stuff they were doing at ASU, and it would always impress me greatly. So my comments are also not on ASU. I just want to be really clear about that. I've been sitting around this table long enough that this conversation arises every time we have somebody from out of state wanting to provide programs in California. And so I think it's a challenge to our in-state providers to think about how we are providing programs in our state, and can we learn perhaps with this system how to better improve our online offerings. So my request is to the staff, not that we consider new standards, but given Commissioner Francois's comments got me thinking that, do we indeed as a collective body have sufficient and deep understanding of online programs that then help inform our analysis and hopefully eventually approval of online programs? And so I would ask that the staff provide us with some information as we move through this process, and perhaps we can lean on our ASU colleagues to help with this information, because you all have been doing this and doing it quite successfully for a number of years. So I would turn to some of our colleagues sitting across the table to work with our staff to come back with a set of information for commissioners to consider, not just for ASU, but for all online programs. And that may also help our in-state preparation programs to grow these kinds of programs. I know when I was sitting in Commissioner Provisional seat years ago, we had internal conversations about how do we continue to provide online offerings. And
it's something I think we need to continue to think about very seriously.
Visit.
That's a request to staff.
You are welcome to come visit anytime.
No, I want you to come here and just talk. Madam Chair, we would be happy to put together a study session for the Commission on Online. Great, thank you.
Director Scuball, and then I have Commissioner Simmons and Commissioner Davis.
I just wanted to build on that, with our education career counselors who are, day in, day out, working with individuals who are trying to come into the teaching profession. That is one of the primary questions that they ask. Where are the online programs? How can I complete my preparation while still working full time? And perhaps I'm a career changer. So it's really a prominent topic of conversation. And so having a good understanding of what types of institutions are offering online or hybrid programs that educators can go into, especially career changers, would be incredibly valuable for our teacher candidates. So I just wanted to add that anecdote.
Commissioner Simmons?
It is rural.
I believe it was 26 years ago. It was on the BIR for Cal State Teach, their initial visit that Cal State Teach had. And a lot of the discussion was around delivery models. And I think that there's actually a lot of expertise around this table because both the chair and Commissioner Povri have run online programs through the CSU. So I would really like to know. I would really be interested in hearing that that session on online programs because my hypothesis is that there's no such thing as an online program, that there is a variety of ways that online programs are done. I know even for Cal State Teach, it looks very different now than it did 26 years ago. And the way that they handled things with interactions with locals for a statewide program has really morphed over the years. So I would really like to see that.
Commissioner Davis?
I was just going to lead and say that Commissioner Erickson probably has a lot of expertise. Because my first 2 bachelor's degrees came from the state, but all of my subsequent degrees, my 3 master's degrees and my doctorate degree came from an AICCU, and they were all online programs. And so I would not be able to sit and do that work if I had to go to a brick and mortar institution, because I live in a small agricultural community and the local university is 50 miles away, and in Bay Area traffic, it's not going to happen. So that was the consideration I made when I went to University of Phoenix, when I signed up at National, when I went through all these other programs, because I couldn't go to Santa Clara University or even Stanford. I work at Stanford. I can't attend classes at Stanford because it's so far away. So I see that the online way was a convenient way, but it was absolutely no different than the preparation programs that I attended at LA State, except my mentor was somebody who was local from my county office or from my school site, which made it even more of a family feel for me with those online programs, because I didn't have someone coming from Stanford or Santa Clara or somewhere else who didn't know anything about my community coming to help in that process of getting into the program. So,
Commissioner Simpson, and then Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Povri.
I think actually Commissioner Davis may have answered my question. Will express my naivete about online versus in-person instruction. Probably the oldest one in the room. And online didn't exist when I was going to college or graduate school or any of that. So I was curious about, is it clear that online instruction in this kind of a setting is as effective at preparing students to become teachers or administrators, or what as a person kind of
I think that's I think that's a really good question for us to take up in our study session. I know that COVID really pushed the envelope on online, right? Everything we did in schools.
There's a cultural thing that, you know,
Absolutely.
people are going through now with, you know, everybody's on their phones and
Right.
online. So I'm curious as to whether it really is as effective as in person.
It's a good question. So on our study session agenda will be that question.
I know I have Commissioner Pavre and Commissioner Brown, but I just want to make a recommendation, just kind of look at the time a little bit. If we act on the motion and then really do the rest of this work on it in the study session, unless Commissioner Brown, you.
I was just going to endorse that the California community colleges have been offering all our education courses and all our degree in multiple delivery models. And there are some challenges in that, particularly in looking at direct classroom experience, which still counts a lot. But we've used the California Early Childhood Mentor Program to then keep it localized, and it supports students of all ages and all circumstances. So yes to study session. Is that enough? Okay.
Commissioner Pavre, are you okay with that, or would you like to add?
You know, just a quick clarifying question for our guests from ASU, since the question on the table is around ASU's programs, was triggered by Commissioner Francois. So my question is your focus going to be statewide? Is that the strategy for ASU, or are you restricting your programming to the LA region or some other region?
Statewide.
We currently have over 250 students placed in California schools across the state.
Thank you. That's helpful. Thank you.
All right, so we do have a motion on the table. Will the recording secretary please call for the vote? Each member please respond with aye, nay, or abstain.
Ned Brown. Aye. Vic Cardenas.
Aye.
Cheryl Cotton.
Aye.
Tom Cruise.
Aye.
Christopher Davis.
Aye.
Michael Delatorre.
Aye.
Peter Gwynno Shire.
Aye.
Bonnie Clark.
Aye.
Ira Lit.
Aye.
Mancias.
Aye.
David Simmons.
Aye.
Richard Simpson.
Aye.
Huang Yuzoff.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Let's say thank you to the ASU representatives, Dr.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Mr. Boyd, Ms. Keller, Director Sullivan, Director Schoolwell. We will now move on to item 2B. Our next item is 2B, initial institutional approval, stage 3, consideration of provisional approval for the Chicago School. This item is being presented by Hart Boyd. This is an action item. Boyd, will you please begin?
Yes, thank you. Item 2B presents the Chicago responses to stage 3 of the initial institutional approval process for the commission's consideration and possible provisional approval. As a reminder, the Chicago School's main campus is located in Los Angeles, and the institution is regionally accredited by the WASC Senior College and University Commission. On page 2 of the item, you will find the 5 stages of the IIA process chart, with the current stage, stage 3, highlighted. Chart notes that provisional approval means an institution is approved that the institution cannot offer the proposed programs until stage 4, in which the program standards and program-specific preconditions will be reviewed to determine alignment. The proposed program will then be brought before the Committee on Accreditation, who may approve or deny the program. As noted on page 3 of the item, the Chicago School is proposing to offer a pupil personnel services school psychology program. Also on this page, you will find the link to the institution's complete Common Standards submission. Summaries from the Chicago School's responses to the Common Standards are provided on pages 4 through 9. The team of board of institutional review members reviewed, collaborated, and came to a consensus of aligned on all Common Standards. Based on the findings and met for all Common Standards, staff would like to recommend provisional approval for the Chicago School. It is recommended that the provisional approval be set for a period of 4 years, so that in the 4th year, a provisional site visit can occur and data can be collected. After the provisional site visit, a report will be brought before the commission for consideration of full approval, which is part of the fifth and final stage of the IIA process. Joining us today via technology are institutional representatives, Dr. Sarah Golom, Department Chair, Dr. Malia Fields, AVP, ALO Accreditation, Licensure, and State Authorization, and Dr. Miguel Valenzuela, Director of Accreditation, Licensure, and State Authorization. They will be available to answer any stage 3 submission questions you may have, and staff is available to answer any process questions.
Thank you. We will now open for public comment. For members of the public that would like to make a comment, please notify the meeting moderator by submitting a request card by clicking on the raise hand icon if participating through Zoom, or pressing *9 if participating by phone. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, public comments.
There are no public comments.
Public comment period for this item is now closed. Do commissioners have any questions or comments on this? Everybody asked their questions on the last item. Seeing that online, in person. No questions? Commissioner Pabri.
I'm sorry, this question is not directly around your credential, but I'm curious if you're also offering a doctoral program in school psychology?
We are not. It
You're
would
not.
just be the
Okay.
specialist.
The reason I bring that up is there's such a shortage of faculty because we have so few doctoral programs. So I was curious about that, but thank you.
100%.
Any other questions? Seeing none. This is an action item. Do I have a motion to grant provisional approval to the Chicago school with that provisional approval period to be 4 years? Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Simpson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Will the recording secretary please call for the vote? Each member please respond with aye, nay, or abstain.
Annette Brown. Aye. Jose Cardenas.
Aye.
Cheryl Cotton. Juan Cruz.
Aye.
Christopher Davis.
Aye.
Michael De La Torre.
Aye.
Peter Guino Shire. Aye. Bonnie Clark. Aye. Alit.
Aye.
Mancias.
Aye.
David Simmons. Aye. Richard Simpson. Aye. Don Yuzo. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boyd. Thank you also for the Chicago School for being on here and being available for our questions. We look forward to seeing you. At this point in time, we move on to item 2C. Our next
Thank
item
you
is
all. We'll step out. And can I please just express my gratitude for all of you for carrying this work in these times, because it's this advocacy that has brought us to where we are, and it's that strength. And I have so much gratitude for our educators who continue this work. So thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Appreciate you all. Next item is 2C. Proposed revisions to the Child Development Permit Performance Expectations. This item is being presented by Renee Marshall and Deborah Killer. This is an information item. I was going to say, Ms. Marshall, will you please begin? But she's online? Okay, good. I see her. So Ms. Marshall, will you please begin?
Absolutely. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Keeler to start us off face-to-face, everyone.
I'm just pulling up the presentation here. Morning, commissioners. Today we're presenting the proposed revisions to the Child Development Permit Performance Expectations. Our Administrator Renee Marshall will be joining us via Zoom today. Our agenda item includes a brief background and rationale for the revised performance expectations, recommendations, and an overview of proposed revisions by domain. Included is also a field review plan and the next steps. In 2019, the Commission adopted the first set of teaching performance expectations to guide preparation for the Child Development Permit. In February of 2025, the Commission took action to update the Child Development Permit. This item presents for the Commission and public review updated performance expectations that have been revised to align with the updated permit structure and requirements. The permit structure and revised performance expectations were informed by key policy documents, which are highlighted in the agenda item. The draft is streamlined for feasibility and deduplication within a 24-unit early childhood education program while maintaining role fidelity for beginning professionals. Universal design for learning and culturally sustaining pedagogy are embedded throughout the Child Development Permit performance expectations. These performance expectations were initially written as aspirational expectations. The revised performance expectations, however, are now written as concise, teachable, practice-oriented, and observable candidate actions in real-time practice. In 2019, early childhood education TPEs needed to be updated to align with the revised child development structure that was approved in 2025 this year and the evolving early learning landscape. The proposed performance expectations anchor expectations to the clarified roles assisting, teaching, mentoring, leading, with authorizations and preparation pathways. The revised performance expectations address prior duplication and measurability issues. The ECE TPEs are now called the Child Development Permit Performance Expectations. Within the item, appendices A and B provide the draft performance expectations by level and crosswalks to key California frameworks. I'm going to hand it over to Renee.
Thank you. Field feedback on the 2019 teaching performance expectations included concerns about duplication, length, and uneven measurability across domains to support reliable evaluation of candidates' learning and practice during preparation. We also have a summary crosswalk to California's reference documents that you can find in Appendix C. In addition, these recommendations included role-appropriate expectations, embedding contemporary priorities such as universal design for learning, culturally sustaining pedagogy, explicit supports for multilingual learners, and inclusive practices. Next slide, please. In short, the proposed Child Development Permit performance expectations consolidate content, emphasize observable, teachable actions tied to evidence that can be seen in practice, and improves alignment between the performance expectations and the updated Child Development Permit matrix so programs can feasibly prepare their candidates within any existing unit constraints. Next slide, please. There are 5 distinct levels in the updated Child Development Permit matrix adopted by the Commission in February 2025. Each level authorizes the holder to provide distinct services in an early learning and care setting. Level 1, Early Childhood Educator 1, ECE 1, is authorized to assist in the care, development, and instruction of children under the guidance and supervision of an ECE 2 or higher. ECE 1 can provide short periods alone per program standards. The Early Childhood Educator 2, ECE 2, is authorized to serve as the teacher of record in the care, development, and instruction of children and provide guidance and supervision to an ECE 1. Early Childhood Educator 3, ECE 3, is authorized to provide care, development, and instruction of children and provide guidance, mentoring, curriculum coordination, and provide staff development to ECE 2 and ECE 1 and ECE 2 permit holders. Then we have Early Childhood Administrator 1, ECA 1. This person is authorized to supervise an early learning and child development program at a single site in the care, development, and instruction of children, and to provide guidance and supervision to ECE 1, 2, and 3 staff serving in the role of the teacher of record at that single program site. We also have Early Childhood Educator 2, ECE 2. The ECE2 is authorized to supervise operating multiple sites to oversee the care, development, and instruction of children and to provide guidance and supervision to ECE 1, 2, and 3 and ECA1 staff. The holder may also serve as the coordinator of multiple sites in the areas of curriculum, staff development, and mentorship at the program level. And I will hand it back to Dr. Keeler.
So let's talk a little bit about the overview of the proposed revisions by domain with this document. First of all, domain focuses on engaging and supporting all young children in development and learning. So this includes focuses on strength-based, culturally and linguistically responsive practice with explicit multilingual supports, real-time UDL strategies, partnerships with families, and also specialist and infant toddler considerations. Domain 2 is creating and maintaining effective environments for young children's development and learning, consolidates safety, health, nutrition, while embedding trauma-informed practices and family-centered strategies that build executive function and wellness routines. Domain 3, understanding and organizing content knowledge for young children's development and learning, guides UDL and culturally sustaining selection, and clarifies adaptation materials technology, including assistive technology. Domain 4, which is planning instruction and designing developmental and learning experiences for all children, integrates planning expectations into play-based developmental designs with explicit language supports and individualized alignment. Domain 5, which is assessments and documentation for young children to support them, integrates, unifies observation and documentation with multi-measures culturally and linguistically appropriate assessment, progress monitoring, and clear referral pathways for young children. And Domain 6, which is focused on our developing professional growth and responsibilities for our early childhood field, streamlines ethics and integrity, reflecting cycles of coaching, feedback to adults, data-informed program communication, and a modest advocacy policy awareness elements. So the next slide focuses on the overview of the proposed revisions by domain for the Early Childhood Administrator 1 and 2. Domain 1 is Program Development and Administration, which is really focused on designing and implementing curriculum and learning environments aligned with California frameworks, establishing inclusive and culturally responsive program policies, ensuring compliance with Title 22 and Title 5 requirements, coordinating schedules and routines, and overseeing authentic assessments. Domain 2, that personnel management, defines responsibilities for aligning staffing models with licensing and program standards, coordinating orientation and evaluation process, providing reflective supervision, and cultivating an inclusive work space grounded in ethics, those mandated trainings, and professional accountability as well. Domain 3, which is business and fiscal management, focuses on compliance with regulatory and contractual requirements, ensuring audit readiness, supporting the efficiency and enrollment and attendance and those documentation that needs to support the program. And then also elevating any kind of school-wide issues to the appropriate governing authorities, and then advocating for resources and sustainability within the program. And Domain 4, personnel development, emphasizes building staff capacity through reflective practice, professional growth plans, those mentoring opportunities, culturally responsive and trauma-informed strategies, and facilitating professional learning through professional learning communities, and then looking at program data to inform practice, improve quality, and strengthen family engagement. So together, these domains scaffold candidate practice from enactment to evaluation in ways that are coherent for programs under advancement. So the field review plan and next steps. First of all, we have released the revised child development permit performance expectations draft that was released on October 10th, and it's open for a 30-day window of time for field review. The survey is open through the November 10th. Our next step is to really synthesize comments and also looking at the aspects of each one of these elements being rated and produce a final recommendation version of the child development permit performance expectations. And then we're also hopeful to return to the commission with the final document and implementation in terms of a support plan. So you'll see in the chart that is provided here. So we're here in October presenting this item, December returning. Our goal is to return in December. We have a lot of data to compile, so we'll do our best. And then spring 2026, hopefully be able to integrate that into a regulatory package. And then summer really focusing on aligning coursework and clinical practice to the revised performance expectations once the regulation package has been approved by OAL. And then ongoing mentoring, technical assistance, and periodic updates as needed in that. So thank you, commissioners, for listening to our presentation on the CDP PEs today. And I did want to give you an update also on our field review. We have around 170 for 100 ECE1, 112 for ECE2, ECE3 at 56, ECA at 111, ECA2 at 89. So we've had a really good response so far in that. So please let us know if you have any comments or questions for us. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now open for public comment. If there are members of the public that would like to make a comment, please notify the meeting moderator by submitting a request card or by clicking on the raised hand icon and participating through Zoom, or pressing *9 and participating by phone. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Recording secretary, are there any public comments?
Public comments.
Public comment period for this item is now closed. Do commissioners have any questions or comments on this item? Davis?
I was going to remark briefly. And Ms. Marshall, when I first started on the commission, talked with Commissioner Brown about the speed at which things happen, in the child development world. And I knew nothing really much about the child development world. And to see that this work, this body of work that you all have created through public partnerships, and then also the input that you've gotten from the field, it's just like, wow. It's an incredible amount of work, and also the ambitious timeline for approval that you all have. Wow. I mean, because again, I'm thinking slow moving, but this is coming pretty fast, even though it has taken a few years to get to this step. So kudos to both of you all, and thank you for really highlighting those domains, the 6 domains that were there, because they really show the breadth of communication you've had from the field people. You have the diversity listed there. You have the UDL listed. You have all of the elements to make the program even more enriched than that credentialing program, and we appreciate that. And also setting a standard with domains 1 through 4 for our ECA folks when it comes to parsing out the actual jobs that those folks undertake when they take on those roles. Really lends what the commission probably should kind of be looking at when they look to have the Cal APA kind of review, and as they look at the different jobs that administrators have in our public institutions that are PK to 12. That this is great work and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for giving me this. I've learned so much over the years through this process, and you all brought it all together in one neat little presentation for me. And I'm smiling because I understand now what it takes to be in the ECE world.
Commissioner Pavri?
Thank you. Good morning. So thanks again, like Commissioner Davis said, I think this pathway makes for really strong intersegmental partnerships and stackable credentials, and excited about the apprenticeship growth in this area as well. I did want to lift up and get your thinking around. I think we got some comments from Early Edge and Californians Together about specializations. And we've heard this, from the field as well, especially around working with our dual language learners or kids with special needs. Can you speak to that? How might you visualize these specializations playing out?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And we've had a lot of discussion. We came to the table here in April and presented that item. And we have, as a staff, really been very thoughtful about how this will play out within our field. And it's something that we want to continue to pursue the ideas surrounding this. And we anticipate in the spring coming back with that. But we also realize that there is a subtle shift possibly in the consideration of micro-credentialing, and those pieces. So we want to be thoughtful and we want to continue in the stream that the commission is going in. And we just need a little bit of breadth of time to be able to determine where this is going to land that's best for our field, as well as consistent with where the commission is going in terms of.
Good, Richard Sandy.
I'd like to just add some context to this and appreciate the question and this response. So the child development permit for a teacher, journey level teacher, requires 24 units of early childhood coursework in the context of an AA degree. So we have 24 units in which to develop them in the TPEs for ECE2. There are 24 units, that's 8 courses in which to develop them. Let's compare that for a minute to the pre-K3 through grade 3, pre-K3 credential, my words are getting ahead of my brain. For a pre-K3 credential, the person needs a baccalaureate degree, and we accept as their subject matter a degree in child development or in childhood education or a related degree major. And then they need a credential program that includes clinical practice and preparation methods courses, et cetera. So for a pre-K3 credential, you've got that much space, a BA degree to develop their understanding of child development and then to develop their understanding of pedagogy and to have opportunities to practice it. For a child development permit teacher at ECE2, you have 24 units. So that's the beginning of their subject matter knowledge. They have to have a course in child development. They have to have at least one course in how do you organize activities for young children that are developmentally appropriate. They need to have a course in engaging with families in that kind of space. So we have much more limited space to develop these TPEs than we do for a larger credential. So we did, as Ms. Keeler mentioned, we did bring back in April a recommendation that came from our work group regarding specializations in bilingual education, in infant toddler care, and in early extended learning settings. And we had a fairly robust conversation here at the table about the shortages and the challenges we face with staffing early childhood centers, and the challenge of adding too much to the preparation to begin kind of creates this tension of how do you get to core? Are we still online?
Yes.
How do you get to core knowledge of child development, child family community curriculum, some experience in 24 units, and make sure you've done an adequate job of addressing those who are going to serve in an infant toddler setting, which are very different needs than a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. Those in bilingual settings for English learning, preschoolers, those in extended learning spaces. And that tension is what I think Dr. Keeler is bringing back to our attention here, is that we need to work on how we can get there from here so that the children that are going to be served by people who hold this permit have educators who are adequately prepared to work with them. That's how we avoid malpractice and missing the needs of the young people. So we do look forward to bringing this back to you. One of the other considerations we have is we still have a credential renewal requirement for this permit, which requires a specified number of hours of additional continuing education every 5 years to renew. That could be a space where specializations are developed. But we appreciate the reflection from the field, Early Edge, and the groups that signed on to that letter to help bring attention back to the challenge we have of getting enough preparation done in 24 units while making sure that whoever you might be serving in a pre-K classroom is adequate for that job.
Commissioner De La Torre?
I'm sorry, I'm confused. The pre-K 3 credential only goes down to 3-year-olds, correct?
Yes.
Why is it also including the 1-year-olds?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
No, pre-K 3 is we
3-year-olds, right?
It's 3-year-olds to 8-year-olds. So it is preschool through 3rd
So
grade.
the preparation does not include the infant and toddler?
It does not.
Okay.
But its focus does include what's necessary for 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds,
Yes.
5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. So we have greater attention. We've got a standard
Yes,
in
yes,
K3
yes.
for mathematics, for
I'm sorry.
literacy, all those things.
I just heard the
No.
infants and
Infants
1-year-olds.
and
I'm like, wait a
toddlers,
minute. Like, why would someone need to be prepared for infants and toddlers for a pre-K 3 credential, but
They
it's
don't.
not part of the preparation?
It's for the child development permit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because the holder of a child development
I misheard.
is authorized to serve that population. So I have to make sure.
Sorry.
That's okay. This is it's all right. This is a very complex field, lots of lines intersecting. So.
Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Simmons.
I think the diversity and complexity of the field is still reflected here, and those issues continue because you're looking at working with young children in a context that works for young children, families, teachers, etc. At the same time, I think about the work that's been done here in this commission is fabulous because otherwise early childhood education doesn't count as education. It doesn't matter until the child gets in some kind of public or private school. So this is much, much better. It's so comprehensive. One of the things that I think about as the community college commissioner is how much the community college teaching and instruction and professional work has been done on trying to create what are those core things, core areas, what we sometimes call the core 8 or the basic 24 units that really provide a foundation. And then how do you go beyond that? And what we're finding with our students is some of those students already have a lot of that basic foundational coursework, and they want to come back to the community colleges, which are closer in their community because there's so many more and so much more affordable. That's where they're also looking for those extended specialized courses, which the apprenticeship helps with, but also that program. So I think you've got a lot of people in the field. I'm really appreciative of how this commission and their staff has engaged in getting focused questions from the field, because that if you bring people in, it's kind of like if you bring the student teachers in to tell you what's really going on, you're probably going to make a better system. So I'm interested also that the public has had so many opportunities to comment. We don't have extra phone calls now. That's so thank you for this work. I'm really glad that I've been able to be part of this work and continue it because this matters in bringing our youngest children and their families and their communities and their teachers into the commission. So, and thanks to Mary for getting that started. How many years ago?
Long time ago. We're not counting the years anymore. It's decades now.
So yes, it feels like it's gone fast now, but it's been building for quite a long time. So we're at the right time.
Mr. Simmons.
I was going to make a motion, but it's an information item. Because I would move to it be approved if it was. But my question is maybe for another day, but what is a micro-credential? And what are the implications of micro-credentials?
So what micro-credential is, I think there are many different versions of what a micro-credential is. Sometimes it's called a digital badge, might be called micro-certification. But, you know, our kind of narrow definition right now is that someone can complete some form of online preparation and demonstrate that they have learned it in some way, and through that process get recognized for having completed that. It's a recognition of completion that oftentimes does include some form of performance assessment or other type of assessment within a modular learning experience. So could we imagine, and I think Anna Marie, you may, excuse me, Commissioner Francois, you may have some further insight into this. It's my understanding that UCLA has micro-credentials that they are offering, possibly in the early childhood space. If I have that completely wrong, forgive me, but there are, you know, it can be used for continuing education in multiple different varieties and forms. In this space, it could be used to get to some of these areas of specialization without having a unit load attached to it.
There'd be an authorization statement attached to it.
That's a question for this commission. That's a question for this commission. Is it required that you know how to work with infants and toddlers in order to be authorized to do so? That's a question for you all to grapple with. Is what is in these TPEs for the teacher level at 24 units, and mind you, someone can start at an ECE2 on our permit that you adopted in February in the structure with 12 of those units met. So what are the top three things they need to know in order to begin, right? It's not going to be a course probably in infant and toddler. In your child development course, you're going to learn something about the developmental stages that children go through, normal and abnormal. I don't know whether we still use those phrases when we talk about it. Development, understanding what development is, you know, like from birth through age 5 is kind of what a child development course for this permit should cover. I'm sure in many different programs it goes further than that, but it's just understanding how infants, toddlers, preschoolers take in experience, and therefore how you facilitate that experience as the adult who's charged with them for 4, 6, 8, or 10 hours a day, depending. Should somebody be authorized to work with infants and toddlers if they've learned nothing about that? Okay, that question may be rhetorical, but so there's an infant toddler theme in these TPEs that you're looking at today and that we're out for field review on. And there will be a question, I think the folks who are really most concerned, and some of them have written to us about this already, about infant toddler and EL and those and other kinds of things that have light treatment in these TPEs. Is that sufficient? And that's going to be something we hear from the field on and then need to discuss and determine whether the authorization should be explicit about these different populations or whether we operate that in a different way by saying, this is core preparation, begin work as a child development permit holder with the expectation that these areas of specialization be added through the professional growth over 5 years, maybe micro-credentials or something else, if the holder is going to be working with these specific populations. That we don't have an answer to that question yet. We have the question. Our advisory group, our work group on this recommended that you adopt specializations, and their first blush on that was with units attached to them, because that's the typical way in which we count preparation. You complete this number of units and you have, but are there other ways to do it? We are absolutely ready to explore the field of practice on that.
Commissioner Simmons, do you have a follow-up or want to move on to Commissioner Francois?
I just to say that I would like to know more about financials in general.
Okay.
Because there is often spoken of as a solution to a variety of problems across age 3 through 12. And I don't believe we've ever adopted it.
No, we haven't. We haven't. And in point of fact, that is a topic that could blend into a discussion of online, our study session on online. Yeah. Yep. All right. Duly noted. Thank you.
Commissioner Francois.
Thank you. I actually don't have very much to add to the wonderful description and explanation that Mary just provided, but I thought I'd raise my hand since she called my name out. I will say though that I love the idea of thinking about this as part of our study session on digital or online learning. We are currently at UCLA, our Department of Continuing Education, UCLA Extension, offers a variety of what we call micro certifications, not credentials, in a variety of industry areas. And so we're currently working on them with them through the School of Education and Information Studies on, so what does that look like within the field of education? Because in California, we don't offer any micro certifications related to our commission approved program. However, we could learn a lot from our micro credential program that we host in, it's in one of the New England states. I believe it's in Rhode Island, where the Rhode Island Department of Education has accepted this micro credential stack as fulfilling the requirements for teaching English language learners. And so I'd be happy to invite them to give us some insight on what that looks like within a state Department of Education as part of our study session, if we have appetite for it.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Commissioner Davis.
And also adding to that list of expertise, Dr. Nava, I believe his name is LA Unified. We have a robust micro certification catalog in LA Unified. Also, CTA has that same kind of catalog, and I know our very own Adam Ibrahim structure for that in the CTA system before transitioning to the commission. So also there's some expertise there with some of our partners and also our staff with what that looks like and how it might align with what we're already doing in our credentialing program.
Yeah, had a great conversation. I know that we'll follow up, and I just want to say, you mentioned how fast this is moving, and honestly, I have seen it over the years. It's been a long process, a long journey, and I know we're hoping to get there. And I remember one of my first meetings, we had a lot of discussion, a lot of public comment, a lot of public input because people wanted to be part of this process. And I feel you've done a remarkable job of including the field and getting everybody's voice heard. And addressing even more concerns that are coming up. So just want to appreciate you and also Ms. Marshall, just all the work that you do and all the sessions that you're hosting to get the community involved. So thank you with that. This is an information item. No action is required. Thank you again to Ms. Marshall and Ms. Keeler for doing this work and for continuing this work in the field. So thank you again. With that said, I know you haven't had a break yet. I know you all want to move on to the next one, but we're going to go ahead and take a lunch break and be back here at 12:45. All right, so be back here. We'll take 12:40 so we can get started at 12:30. All right, so we'll see you soon. Enjoy your lunch, please.
Seriously.